Welcome, everyone. We are back with another day, another week of the Kart Rider Drift League. My name is Will Cho, joined by State. And, I mean, the weekend was full of some banger matches here at the KDL.
That was
a
lot of fun.
Yeah, you had some fun matches. I was actually so upset because I had to go back and watch the VODs. And I know you guys were talking about it in our little group chat, like, oh, today was crazy. I watched it. I was like, oh, it was crazy.
It was crazy. I've never seen anybody take that inner line like Jung did in the final ace match. I mean, Racinggame. There's a reason they're in second place. It's teamwork. They're forcing ace matches, but also it's Jung just being unbeatable right now. It's a thrilling way.
I mean, for him to put up this kind of record of 5 ace matches against 5 different players, you know, within one tournament, wins all of them, and those are also all of their wins. So that's a crazy stat line, but of course, we do have one more day of team matches. Of course, if you're joining us now, we are at the end of the main stage, which is basically round robin. You can see that May 3rd, that's today's date. 8 teams have entered, only 4 teams will go to the postseason.
Yeah, only 4 teams advancing to the postseason, and as it is right now, that postseason already pretty much fixed in terms of which teams are going to make it, which teams are not. Esports probably the most surprising, as you see right here on the board, in second place with a negative round win differential of -5. I mean, it just goes to show how clutch they've been. They just are so good at forcing that ace match and just passing the baton on to Jung, and he just comes through every single time.
Exactly.
But yeah, it should be some great matches. We have a little bit of mismatches here today. I mean, we're going to see FINALEe-sports go against Liiv SANDBOX later, which is the 3rd place team against the 8th place team. But overall, it should be a lot of fun. Of course, this being Wednesday, we do have 3 team matches in total.
Yes. Go through the rest of them, basically. The last of the team matches now, as State mentioned, which 4 teams are going into the postseason is pretty much fixed. However, the standings can change up based on today's matches, and that'll not only affect which teams get to go to the winners finals first, but also it affects the seeding as well, which we'll explain in a little bit why that matters. But there you go, FINALEe-sports versus SANDBOX. I mean, that's a match of SANDBOX trying to cement their own destiny of trying to secure that 2nd place, while FINALEe they just want to escape 8th place here, right? Put up a better record before the preseason ends.
Yeah, they want to win a match in speed mode. They haven't won one yet. I mean, it's an exciting team. They're a lot of fun to root for, and you can see the potential there. It's a young team, but as of yet, not really able to deliver. And then later, of course, we will have Aura versus the KWANGDONGFREECS. It's another fantastic match. And then Planet versus Reboot will close things out tonight, and it should be another fun day of Kart Rider Drift.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, on Wednesdays, we do take a break from the solo matches. Those will return over the weekend. And again, the team matches, it's not that they're over today. This is just the part of the round robin stage. And then we'll go into the postseason, which will be a 4-team double elimination tournament, or kind of semi-double elimination tournament, right? There's a winner's final. But let's move on to the first match of tonight. The first team up, it's going to be FINALEe-sports, currently in right at the bottom of the leaderboard, but they're trying to leave their mark with an upset here.
Yeah, trying to leave their mark with an upset, trying to end the season, end the preseason here on a high note. And I mean, you see it on their faces when they have a good result, when they win item modes or when they win rounds or anything like that. They're happy, they're excited. You know, you get a lot of good feelings from this team. I mean, even Banana right now clapping on stage coming up there. I mean, they've got a lot of charisma, and I'm hoping that they have a better go of things as the Kart Rider Drift League, continues on over the course of this year. It's a team that has shown a lot of potential, but Liiv SANDBOX, arguably top 2 team in this league right now, up there with the KWANGDONGFREECS, going to come onto the stage.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, a little bit of a Titanic action here between Neil and Insu. I love it.
These guys are so fun.
Neil's been getting just more and more praise. I mean, obviously in the past as well, but as even the KDL has been going on, the Korean fans actually praising him a lot for just his efforts to get to know the Korean fan base a lot more, the Korean community, of course, as he's continued to play on a Korean team here in SANDBOX. We even saw it in some of those, behind-the-scenes clips of him speaking Korean with the rest of his team. Obviously, he's been doing it in some of the interviews as well.
Our production team does interviews with the players before we start the preseason, and we ask players, what do you want to accomplish outside of Kart Rider Drift League this season? Some players like, I want to lose weight, I want to gain weight, I want to go to the gym, I want to get healthy. I think World was saying, it was World or Cool was like, I want to get global fans.
Oh yeah.
And for Neil, he's like, I want to get better at Korean.
Yeah,
so,
it's like the reverse for him.
Yeah, he's putting the work in,
All right, well, no place to retreat, of course. Last match, they're already in 8th place, but they want to get out of it. There is a chance, right, if they can win today, and depending on Planet and Reboot's match at the end of the day, FINALEe could end up at 7th. And them just kind of challenging Liiv SANDBOX to say, oh, you guys are trying to cement your own destiny. Well, we might bring you to an ace match versus see how it goes.
Yeah, we might bring in, throw a wrench into your machine, the machine of Liiv SANDBOX, as FINALEe right now tied with Planet there for 7th and 8th place. They would love to pick up a win here. It would be a huge upset.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think, you know, even Rox versus Liiv SANDBOX, just as team brands, Rox does have a history of kind of being the SANDBOX's kryptonite at times, but even that was technically considered an upset, right, just because of how solid this entire roster of 5 seems on the side of SANDBOX. But, I mean, these guys, I think over time, they will look unbeatable, right? I mean, just the level of strategy they bring to both the speed and the item mode. That's the impressive part.
Yeah, I mean, you think of Liiv SANDBOX, and they're easily a top 2 speed team here in the KDL, but also they're the best item mode team, and it's one of the reasons why we were so surprised to see Rox come back and win item mode. The worst item mode team is actually, let's see that example, the Rox match. I think we can win if we focus on Jung. Oh wait, is FINALEe today?
Yeah, they've completely just erased it from their memories. Their coaches have just put them back in the time chamber, sent them back in time. We gotta be able to beat Rox. So it's like, nope, no time machines in today's day and age yet. SANDBOX, sorry about that one.
Morale's broken. The coach brings out like the Men in Black. The little pen flashes in their eyes. Their memories are erased. It's like, no, guys, it's all right. We're still unbeatable in item mode, but you know, before we get there, let's focus on speed mode. Track list coming out here. FINALEe-sports versus Liiv SANDBOX.
Yeah, so we're starting things off on Gold Rush, and then Terracotta Twister, some favorites here, and then Boostwood. Don't see that one as often. And then if we do go to round 4 and 5, SANDBOX will pick up Glacier Extreme Stadium, and FINALEe has picked Boomhill Tunnel as the last one.
Yeah, glad we're going to see Terracotta Twister here in this series. Second map, so that one's guaranteed. I'm also a little surprised to see Boostwood. Especially this early, you know, round 3 instead of like round 5. Not really a common pick here, but I mean, it is the preseason, especially here for FINALEe as it is their map choice. Maybe they're just trying some things out. The pressure's off right now if you're FINALEe-sports.
And I think also just maybe going for some of these wider tracks, knowing that, you know, SANDBOX, if they go into the tighter tracks as soon as they get the lead, I mean, you've got players like even Insu, who's supposed to be, you know, on the speed side of things, but he's so good at those kind of physical scuffles, right, during the races. So FINALEe trying to go a different route. Now, I did want to mention FINALEe. One of the tracks they're really good at is Extreme Stadium, but that's going to be round 4, so we'll see if it gets there. But ladies and gentlemen, we're kicking things right off. Going to track 1 between FINALEe and SANDBOX. It's going to be Mine Gold Rush.
And here we go. Kart Rider Drift League continues again this Wednesday. FINALEe versus Liiv SANDBOX. Hyunsu off to a great start up there with the speed ace Yoon of FINALEe. FINALEe hoping to score an upset here in the speed mode against one of the best speed mode teams in Kart Rider League.
Yep, Striker, we saw that in the very beginning, just kind of falling way behind and then just deciding to go for the harder cuts there just to fill up the boost gauge, see if he can catch back up. Meanwhile, Yoon doing what he can to stay in the front. I mean, you don't want to fall too far behind between both Hyunsu and Neil, because at that point, either Sima or Insu could start wrecking havoc, and you won't be able to get either of the 1-2 spots.
Yeah, and you can even see Neil coming in right now, trying to do a little bit of body blocking here. Throwing in some collisions on Yoon, trying to allow Hyunsu to build a bit on this lead, but as it is right now, Liiv SANDBOX kind of fortifying their position here at the top of the roster, holding 3 out of the 4 spots in the standings. As Yoon, I mean, if FINALEe is going to try and win this one, he's going to have to find his way into first place, but with 3 Liiv SANDBOX players around him,
yeah, I mean, this is looking tough. We saw it on the kind of broader mini-map there on the bottom right as well for a little bit. You can see it right now. Insu has now gone up to 6th place. What was happening is if he can just tie up both Taemin and Vanilla, I mean, Yoon and Striker, they have so much ahead of them to do with just between the two of them that it's already looking tough. And then on top of that, Striker already quite a ways behind as well. We can see that on the camera there. I mean, he does have a chance to catch up, but Yoon has to be able to get through first. Now, Liiv SANDBOX, they've kind of led way. They've given up that inner line just a bit, but they're making sure they can cut in here on that U-turn, and Neil jumps right back up to second place.
Yeah, Neil taking a tight inner line there, and it's going to be Liiv SANDBOX is going to get that 1-2 finish. We'll see if Striker can try and stop this from going through. Oh, it's neck and neck here, but photo finish. Liiv SANDBOX going to take the 1-2, but I mean, they didn't even need it. 4 out of the top 5 spots is Liiv SANDBOX kind of flexing their muscles here in the first round of speed mode against FINALEe-sports.
Yeah, and I mean, this is one of those things about Liiv SANDBOX. Once again, I mean, for most of their players in that team mode, depending on where you end up, I mean, they're happy to just kind of swap roles, right, and do what they can in their position. Insu's so good, especially in that realm of, you know, he fell behind and he just said, okay, you know what, my teammates are ahead. I'm more than happy to take the rear, and just blocks out eventually 3 players from entering that finish in time, and is able to just secure that victory, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talk about this whenever we cast KWANGDONGFREECS, how everyone on that team except for their speed ace says that they're a runner.
Yeah.
But the team is so good at speed mode that they're flexible enough to just play the role that they need to, just given the way that things shake out. And I mean, that's what all these top speed mode teams can do. It's what Liiv SANDBOX just did with Insu, holding up the flank there for Liiv SANDBOX as, I was getting ready to go into the map, but I think we got
a bit of a fake out. Bit of a fake out. We gotta wait just a bit longer.
I heard that beat switch up, and I'm like, wait a second. Not getting baited on this one.
Insu's always baiting our cameraman with his little keycaps there. I think it focused in right at that last second, but I think it was actually one of the characters in Kart Rider. But now it looks like we will be ready here for track 2, ladies and gentlemen. Currently, Liiv SANDBOX leading 1-0. It's Terracotta Twister. And we're off to the start here, 2-lapper here on World Tour Terracotta Twister. SANDBOX, of course, taking that switch victory on track 1. See if they can do it again. This time, Seungha all the way up front in the lead.
Yeah, Seungha with a massive lead into actually boosting Yoon a little bit there with the collision. As Seungha just kind of compounding that differential between first and second place. We'll see if FINALEe is able to close the gap, because it feels like with how strong Liiv SANDBOX is, and, you know, the middle of the pack here, I mean, the sweeping that we see coming out of this team is just phenomenal. It feels like FINALEe is going to have a hard time getting in position to win any particular track if they don't get at least first place. And here we go, coming in.
Oh, Neil with a nice straight booster at the corner. Oh, and Yoon with some amazing recovery. Does not falter, even though Neil's trying to pressure him right off the track. I mean, that's great for you. That gives them still a chance to be able to fight for the lead here. Now, Vanilla and Seungha, they're kind of in their own little 1v1. Neil seeing if he can actually provide any support, but happy to just lead the way for Hyunsu here to also come in. It's still going to be a tight battle here in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, but looking at the distance between Vanilla and Seungha right now, I feel like the rest of Liiv SANDBOX have really done their job to provide space for their racer who's running away with this thing. And you see now, Hyunsu, Insu, and Neil starting to close the distance a little bit here. And once again, it's very reminiscent of the previous track. We have Liiv SANDBOX holding almost all of the top spots.
Yeah, oh, it's unfortunate that the members of FINALEe kind of actually bumping against each other, losing a bit of that speed, because what could have happened is one of them had to have gone for like a straight boost here in this indoor section, try to knock off one, if not 2 members of Liiv SANDBOX. That was kind of their only hope right now, but as it stands, I mean, they've even lost the second place spot. It looks like it might just be out of their way here. Liiv SANDBOX running away with the speed mode here in this team match.
Yeah, Hyunsu and Seungha just miles ahead of Striker and the rest of FINALEe, as Liiv SANDBOX with an even easier 1-2 finish there, just continuing to show their dominance in speed mode. This is a mode that FINALEe-sports over the course of the KDL preseason has been really struggling to find their footing in. So far, they're 0-6 in sets in speed mode. They're 4-18 in rounds in speed mode. That's a dismal 18% win rate. And it's just not what you want to see here, as Seungha, I mean, add insult to injury, also setting a record here against FINALEe.
Well, I mean, when you have zero competition, right, for basically 75% of the race,
yeah.
I think you're happy to just go your own build, you know, as if it's just like a time trial here. Able to set a new record for the team mode here in KDL Preseason 1. And SANDBOX just trying to say, let's just get this match done with, right? Get a 2-0, kind of secure ourselves in that second place spot. And move along. Because if they get that 2-0, I believe they do pretty much secure second place spot going into that winners finals against KWANGDONGFREECS.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be what they're looking for. They don't want this to turn into something where it's going to go to tiebreakers or, you know, rely on the way that the other matches shake out today. As we get a bit of a replay here of Yunsu barely recovering. That physics is actually nuts.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he has the reaction to really be able to stay alive there, we saw that a little bit from both teams, in fact, in that indoor section. But, all right, well, last chance for FINALEe to see if we can get another track here in speed mode, or if we'll be jumping right into item mode as we go to track number 3 between these two teams. It's World Tour Boostwood.
Here we go. Liiv SANDBOX hoping to close this one out with a clean 3-0 sweep in speed mode heading into that item match. Yunsu off to a nice start already. One of the better beginnings here for FINALEe, though, I have to say. Striker and Taman contesting the top spots. We'll have to see how they hang with Liiv SANDBOX collisions here, because the body blocking so far has just been on point. And you see it again right now. I mean, watching Taman's perspective, him trying to find gaps to close the distance and just getting blocked out at every turn. I mean, Yunsu.
Yeah. I mean, he's just not letting anyone approach Neil, and this is kind of one of the most ideal scenarios for Liiv SANDBOX. Neil being perhaps, quote-unquote, the weakest in terms of sweeping on this team, given that he hasn't really played on the team mode too often before KDL. I mean, not at all, really, and now he's trying to get used to it, but, I mean, even now, like today, I would say, actually, we've seen a little bit more of sweeping from Neil. Looks like he's really been practicing with the team to bring that up where they can all be flexible. Now, FINALEe potentially picking this track to avoid much of that physical battle, given that it's much wider, but it's still, I mean, Liiv SANDBOX is actually looking for these fights. You can see that. Yeah,
they're just continuously gunning for it, and oh man, almost getting sandwiched there was Vanilla's. Neil's trying to block him out, and yeah, sweeping Yoon right there. You said it. This is something that he's been improving as an aspect of his gameplay pretty much all preseason. Is Liiv SANDBOX in a tight race right now, 20-19. They're going to try and hold on to these positions, but if a couple of shakeups, if Yoon's able to take first place here, FINALEe might win a track.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how Neil has constantly been just putting people right behind him again as he tries to catch up, potentially even gunning for first here. He's going to go from the out to in here just to close off Striker again. Striker does find one opening, but Neil says, all right, you know what, will that be versus Yoon? Oh, he's trying to go for the straight boost. Yoon still finishes first, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, that collision looked a little bit concerning there, but able to deliver the 2-3-4 finish was Liiv SANDBOX, and it's going to be a 3-0 sweep here in speed mode. And I mean, the speed mode woes here continue for FINALEe-sports, now 0-7 in set, 4-21 in tracks, as it just hasn't really been their forte here.
No,
in the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, we'll say it like it is, especially because it is just the preseason so far. Obviously, this is kind of one of the goals of the preseason, is for teams to be able to identify, get the reps in, figure out what they want to work on before the official season's launch. And right now, FINALEe, I mean, speed mode is where everything starts, right? Yes, there is item mode. Yes, there are ace matches, but if you're always going down on the speed modes, it's going to be rough. And Neil just thanking the fans here for all the support, having some fun on stage. You can tell SANDBOX, they weren't concerned at all for today's match.
No, just calm, cool, and collected is Liiv SANDBOX. Neil pretend to be shy.
Yeah, just having fun after all that celebration.
Yeah. All right. So Banana's going to be swapped in here. Vanilla coming out. I feel like we're looking at a cooking recipe right now.
Yeah. Take out the vanilla. Yeah. Put in a little bit of banana. Right. That's your recipe.
A little bit too close there. Yep. Back it off. There we go.
FINALEe
keep cap here for Banana. Banana, one of the easier players to root for here in the KDL. As I mean, despite FINALEe-sports not having the best run of things here in the KDL Preseason 1. I mean, Banana, he's been all smiles this entire time. He is the item ace on this team, so he's going to try his best to lead them to victory. Neil just casually reclining, relaxing a little bit in that nice chair as he will be swapped out for the item ace Jimin. And yeah, excited for this next match. It's always fun to see Banana play here in item mode. He has some zany builds. Always opting for those big boost plays there at the end. It hasn't really been any team's kryptonite just yet. We'll see if it works here against Liiv SANDBOX. I mean, after last weekend losing against Rocks.
Yeah, I mean, that was their
I'm not sure.
That was SANDBOX's first loss, though, right? I mean, they've actually been kind of the team to beat here in item mode. And looking at the tracks here, starting things off on Glacier Polar Halfpipe, then Pharaoh's Pass, Magma Cavern, Cogwheel Crush, and Mother Lode. Now we should note, SANDBOX also winning the coin flip in today's match, and they've chosen actually item priority, so they get that first pick here.
That makes sense. I mean, item mode is the one thing that FINALEe really has going for them here in this preseason with Banana's leadership, is they're able to force those ace matches by losing in speed and then recovering an item at least sometimes. So Liiv SANDBOX, I mean, they just want to make this a 2-0 sweep and secure that second place finish. You know, don't have to worry about anything else in the standings if you have that clean 2-0 today.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if it does go to 2-1, there is a chance, depending on how Aura's game goes next, that SANDBOX may not be able to secure that second place, but obviously they're trying to avoid that fate altogether as we go into the first track of item mode between these two teams. It is Glacier Polar Halfpipe. And the item mode begins between FINALEe-sports and Liiv SANDBOX. Polar Halfpipe, as we often like to talk about, not exactly the widest of tracks, but still, generally enough room to be able to dodge any of the water bombs or things like that, as we just saw right there from Banana. Look at that, Banana reading into my mind.
Yeah, balloons, kind of difficult to dodge, but we rarely see them connect here as these racers, they're so good at hugging the tight outer line on this track. You rarely see those attacks come in. Usually it's going to be water whiffs or rockets that are going to be the ones connecting and actually causing trouble for any of these players, but we'll see how this one begins to shape up, as this is a 3-lapper, so we do have considerably more track left to go. Now, Banana coming in through with a 4.064 build, might be one of the players that FINALEe is looking to set up to go for that final Hail Mary play at the finish line here in item mode. It hasn't been working for this team so far, despite them continuously kind of building Banana up in this way to just really emphasize the boost. But I like the concept, especially in the winner-take-all format that is, item mode, where first place just decides who wins the track.
Yeah, oh, Insu trying to actually block Yoon as he gets UFO'd so they both get slowed down. I mean, Insu, one of the reasons I think he's gained so much popularity in Korea is he's also just looking for some zany ways to play Kart Rider, both in speed and item mode, as we continue to see him just try to vie for this spot, make sure that, if he's not getting ahead, no one's getting ahead. Now, of course, we do enter the last lap. Taking a look, Yoon double boost. Seungha does have that boost and Magnet. We do have a couple more boosts being saved up as well. So Seungha, that one Magnet could be the deal breaker here. Yeah, that's probably going to be him being the lead runner here for Liiv SANDBOX coming into the final part of lap number 3 with that nice combo of the Nitrous and the Magnet. Looking at FINALEe, they don't really have anybody set up with quite the same item set as we're getting closer to that finish line. We'll see these items come in here. Getting ready to use them right now is Insu. Going to be using that Nitrous in just a second. Actually, Jimin coming from the back. Magnet going to be going through, and actually FINALEe coming through there in the clutch. I think that was Banana with the Magnet, able to deliver the finish there right at the finish line. And FINALEe doing what they do best, winning in item mode. It's been their plan of attack so far here in the KDL preseason, working so far in track number 1, and now Liiv SANDBOX. Not the start that you want here in item mode. You don't want to go down in tracks against a team that, although they might not be as accomplished as you in item mode, specializes in this. Yeah. Because you really do want to avoid any kind of tiebreaker situation that might have you fall at the 3rd place instead of 2nd place of the overall standings heading into the postseason. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I mean, right at the end there, SANDBOX, they had a couple of the attacking items trying to look for a timing, but the Angels kept coming out on the side of FINALEe, so then they decide, okay, what can we do? Can we wait for Magnet to pull back Yoon? But Banana actually uses his own Magnet as well to catch up and just boost him and Yoon forward by kind of pushing him right in front of his own cart, so they get that 1st place finish. See if they can continue it here in track 2 of item mode between FINALEe and Liiv SANDBOX. It's Desert Pharaoh's Pass.
FINALEe-sports looking to add some momentum to this comeback now. Looking for an item mode win to force an ace match here against Liiv SANDBOX and hopefully put a nice little cap on the end of this KDL preseason, which has really not gone their way.
Yeah, and I think, also you might as well try to get some kind of dramatic finish here, right, with an ace match, against a team like Liiv SANDBOX. If you can get the win, even better. FINALEe, I mean, they're really just playing to kind of leave a good memory here, as we see just a little bit of infighting between these two teams.
A lot of body blocking there by Yoon. It's actually just fall off the track.
Yeah, I mean, he just doesn't gain enough speed after all that blocking on his own. But of course, in item mode, you'll have enough time to catch back up, especially depending on the items. But even after that, the first place isn't going to be able to just constantly boost away. So not too big of a concern. Now, what is the concern is, of course, going to be your arsenal. What do you keep? What do you choose to keep? What do you choose to cycle through? I mean, if you do fall too far behind, you are going to have to cycle through your items just to catch up.
I was a little concerned there on the previous track for FINALEes. It seemed like they didn't have as good an item set up there as Liiv SANDBOX did. But no, they were able to play through it. Banana coming through with that clutch magnet. We'll see exactly what their setup is going to be coming through with as we get ready to go into lap number 3. That finish line just a little bit further ahead. And looking at the stats right now, we have Nitrous and a magnet here on Jimin. Insu holding on to both the Angel and I think a Nitrous. So a lot of utility here for Liiv SANDBOX. A lot more even it feels than the previous track.
Yeah, now Yoon kind of being set up to go first because Banana's holding onto that magnet and a boost as well. So Banana actually just drawing out that UFO as well, so Yoon can continue forward. Banana can always catch back up with that magnet and boost. It's kind of the same formula that they had before. Now he's going to have to go forward because of all these attacks coming in. Yoon not able to keep a hold of that first spot. The Angels are starting to come through here for FINALEe.
I'm liking FINALEe's position right now. They have a lot of players that are going to be close to the front of the pack to use these key items to try and get through. At the finish line, 500 meters away, Banana right now with a shield and the magnet's going to be trying to set himself up to propel himself past Insu, but actually it's going to be Striker there from FINALEe on the outside. We barely caught a glimpse of it, but Striker going to deliver the win, and FINALEe going up 2-0. This is getting complicated here for Liiv SANDBOX.
Yeah, and what I really like there at the end is Banana tries to bait all the aggro here by boosting first right off the jump to try to get the better course there right around the last corners. And so that actually does draw out Liiv SANDBOX to use their boost and magnets to be able to overtake Banana, at which point his teammates actually all use their magnets as well just to catch right back up. We'll see if we can catch a replay. If not, we'll be moving right in. We'll see in the highlight reel later, I'm sure. But, oh, actually, Seungha ties together.
Oh, was it tie? I didn't
right
even
at the
notice
same time.
it was a tie.
Yeah. Because with the ties, it just shows them in whichever order. So at the end of the day, they both get a point. All right.
All right.
We didn't get to see the times until the scoreboard shows up, but all right, Seungha. I'm bringing it a little bit. Now, this does mean if they both get a point, right? I mean, it's still gonna.
It's match point.
It's still match point. Yeah, it doesn't really change here from FINALEe, but this is the very beginning of the race here. Yoon just not getting enough speed. Yeah, put that in the highlights here.
Yeah.
Now,
low lights here for Yoon.
Yeah, the highlights and the low lights. We catch all of them here in KDL. Now here right at the end, Banana has drawn enough aggro, and look at all the magnets coming out from the rest of his teammates as well. Striker, it's just right on either side of the finish line as well.
They're so far away from each other. It was almost like, at that point, you're looking at it and you're almost following the standing boards on the left side to see who's going to be the one that's going to finish in first. But now we're going to get a tie, so match point now. FINALEe-sports needing one more track win to force an ace match. Can they do it here on Mine Magma Cavern?
Match point FINALEe trying to take this to the ace match against Liiv SANDBOX, and then of course we'll have to find out who, if at all, will be entering that ace match. Of course, in the beginning, most players just trying to make sure they can get the items so they can start to pick and choose what they cycle through here.
Yep, just a couple of early attacks coming in as, nothing better to do with these attacks. You're not really banking any items here in a 3-lapper on Magma Cavern for that finish line, so we'll see exactly how these lineups start to shake out. So far, I've been really impressed with the way that FINALEe's been playing, the final parts of each lap. It's been solid for them on every single track. We thought that they won even track number 2 with that fantastic combo. I loved you pointing out Banana setting up his team, and as the item ace, that is his responsibility as the play caller to really make those decisions and come up with those strategies. And so far, it's been working for them. If they're going to force an ace match, I feel like they might be able to do it here.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the goal. Now, in the first 2 tracks, what we saw was FINALEe always planting someone like you, and it actually does end up being you both times, to just be in the lead the whole time, and then Banana and his teammates start to really pile on their arsenal, and then they're probably discussing around round 2 what their plan is. Now, if we look at their items right now, they don't have a solid plan here for lap 3. They're going to have to cycle through these water bombs now.
They're going to have to cycle really quickly here. It feels like Liiv SANDBOX might actually be running away with this thing, which is not something that we usually feel here in item mode that much, but
Jimin's way far ahead. We can see it on the radar here on the minimap.
Look at that! He's like...
Yeah, I mean, now you could...
the Hubble Space Telescope or something to zoom in on Jimin. I mean, he's so far away. They can see the attacks right now coming in for Liiv SANDBOX. They're changing up their game plan a little bit here, trying to propel Jimin into a position where he can actually just win this thing.
Yeah, and Banana doesn't have a magnet either, so he can't catch up. The EMP,
oh my
no,
goodness.
It's already been used. And then the water ball on top of the UFO and another UFO. How have they cycled through this in time? Banana now in the lead with another boost as well, but he's still trying to draw aggro, make sure that they don't lose that first spot. But the
water balloon
hits both.
The water balloon comes in. Insu's able to dodge the final water balloon right on the finish line. Take it from the right side, as that was one of the most chaotic finishes that we've had here on an item mode track. Liiv SANDBOX coming through with the win, and man, that was a crazy one. What a wild ride.
Wow. I mean, I thought the fact that they had double UFOs lined up, and so despite the EMPs able to bring down Jimin right at the front, and then eventually Banana even making sure that they have one more member so that they can secure with any sort of buybacking or aggro pulling to be able to get that first place. And then the water bomb hits in the exact location where it's so hard to dodge without falling off the map right before the track opens up again. Great setup from Liiv SANDBOX to tie things up 2-2.
I love that play coming from FINALEe to try and close the distance there with those attacks, but unable to actually manifest a win here to get some more low lights here. I mean, the item mode low lights, it feels like a comedy reel almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's just people getting jolt, but look at it, so perfect. Like,
wow.
You cannot dodge it unless you slow down and back off because it's right after the doorway, and that is, I mean, that's something that you have to have practiced so well in terms of placement, right? You just know that they either get caught or they have to stop, and we're all starting back on square one. So SANDBOX once again proving just how efficient they are, how well practiced they are here in item mode. And guess what? We're going to match point only on track number 4, thanks to that tie on track 2. It's between FINALEe-sports and Liiv SANDBOX as we go to Factory Cog Wheel Crush.
Final match of item mode here between FINALEe-sports and Liiv SANDBOX. Who will take track number 4? FINALEe-sports, if they win this one, they will be able to force that ace match here against Liiv SANDBOX. Liiv SANDBOX, if they win, will secure the 2-0 overall and solidify their position in 2nd place here in the KDL Preseason.
Yeah, I mean, Liiv SANDBOX, they would love to do that and be able to rematch against KWANGDONGFREECS as well right away. To try to make sure they can prove themselves, get into the grand finals nice and early. That's everybody's dream here in team mode or team matches here at the KDL. See if that comes true though. FINALEe, they've been putting up a great fight here in item mode.
Oh, it's been so close every single track. We even had a tie on track number 2. FINALEe won track number 1 with a nice comeback win. And then track number 3, just barely Liiv SANDBOX with a clutch water balloon able to close it out. So, I mean, FINALEe, they've definitely been improving overall, throughout the course of this preseason, and you'll love to see it. You'll love to see them finding some success here as, we start getting closer here to lap number 2, and here as a 2-lapper on Cogwheel Crush, you start paying attention to those item loadouts, and you see a lot of players for both teams right now already holding on to both that nitrous and the magnet, that heavily coveted combination of items that can propel a team into victory from the jaws of defeat.
Yeah, and we've seen that a lot here in Cogwheel Crush, one of those maps where there is a upper and lower track right at the end there. And so the way you can try to line up these magnets to boost above or below that first place has really been throwing off a lot of the teams here in the KDL. See if that comes into play. Looking at the arsenal, one of these teams is definitely going to be able to cross that finish line with that same strategy.
Almost everybody in the top 4 right now has a magnet, which is just absolutely crazy. Liiv SANDBOX, I'm liking their position a little bit more here right behind FINALEe, but we'll have to see how this one shakes out. It can get so chaotic so quickly here.
I mean, the goal's got to be...
Oh my god, we're going to go through the boost tunnel too.
Well, if Yoon's up first, I mean, Yoon has to be able to draw aggro from both the opponents and for his teammates as well, since everybody kind of has the same arsenal. That's what they're trying to do. Striker actually just trying to draw that aggro as well, but he gets pulled back. Jimin just blasts right through the barricade with the Angel. And SANDBOX, they are going to be able to close things out, winning both speed mode and item mode.
Angel Shield coming through in the clutch there for Liiv SANDBOX, and Jimin just able to plow through and deliver the first place finish here on track number 4 in item mode. That's going to be Liiv SANDBOX coming through with a clean 2-0, solidifying their position. They will be placing second in the KDL preseason overall, avoiding any potential tiebreakers or having to worry about these other team standings. And that's got to be, you know, a relief off their shoulders to win right here on this track. But, I mean, what a great way for FINALEe to go out. I mean, yes, they did lose this series 2-0, but it's against Liiv SANDBOX, one of the best teams here in the KDL. And, nope, it wasn't a 6-0, it wasn't a 6-1.
Yeah, I mean, they put up a fight, and I think, if anything, FINALEe-sports, their bio has always been that focus on the item mode, and even then, they didn't have a great win rate, but to be able to take SANDBOX, who is arguably the best team in item mode here at the KDL, you know, down to that match point, or that set point, rather, you know, I think that's a round of applause over to FINALEe. Of course, no team is going to be happy with just a consolation prize, but we have to remember it's just a preseason. We'll see if FINALEe, they continue to evolve throughout the year before the first official season of KDL kicks off later on.
Yeah, there's a long road here ahead at Kartrider Drift League Esports in Korea, and FINALEe-sports, just a team with a lot of promise. They already have shown and proven their prowess in item mode over the course of this preseason. One of the better teams in item mode, where a lot of these, you know, even pro teams have frankly been struggling. So, you know, maybe they can come through in the next preseason and then the regular season and shore up their speed mode game and really be a formidable team. But until then, today is Liiv SANDBOX's day, solidifying that second place finish. They're going to be really happy with this one.
Yeah, that means they will be going into that uppers finals against KWANGDONGFREECS here in the postseason in that tournament mode. See if they can get to the grand finals first. A nice rematch against KWANGDONGFREECS. I'm sure SANDBOX very happy about that. Now they do go in as the second place team, so they get the lower seed, aka the blue side, which means that they do not get to choose speed or item priority. KWANGDONGFREECS will have that. And we'll wait to see how that shakes up later on in the weekend.
Yeah, and we've often seen teams kind of choose that priority just to solidify their position, because of course being able to get 3 out of 5 tracks as your pick and being able to prepare specifically for that, it helps you a lot in preparing for a match and coming through with a plan to win. And so, I mean, second place seed, not what you want in terms of going head-to-head against the Freaks, but I mean, Liiv SANDBOX, if anyone can beat the Freaks, it's going to be them.
Well, yeah, I mean, they are the ones who have put up the best fight against Freaks, and we also have to remember that was the week when they had to make that bit of a roster change, right, where Jimin had to come in for the speed mode as they were, as Seungha was going through a bit of a recovery, and so we'll see, you know, now that they're back in full force with the full 5, does that change the eventual outcome between KWANGDONGFREECS and Liiv SANDBOX again?
It almost feels like it's going to come down to ace matches in those games because, you know, Liiv SANDBOX, they're just so good at item mode. The KWANGDONGFREECS, admittedly, you know, Liiv SANDBOX, they are good at speed mode, but nobody matches the Freaks right now here at the KDL.
Yeah, in terms of just team mode, speed, I mean, KWANGDONGFREECS, they look quite unbeatable, right? And it comes down to what you mentioned before, State, and just that they're just 4 runners, right? They're just built to win that speed mode no matter what.
It's almost like they play positionless speed mode too, because it doesn't matter, you know, who's in what position. They will do what the team needs to secure the win every single time, and they're also good at every single role. Any one of those racers can, you know, get that first place lead, and if they start running away with it, they are not going to give it up.
Yeah.
And any one of those players also, you know, they get a bad start, they have some unfortunate collisions, you know, they fall to the back of the pack. They can also sweep and control some of the other players on the other team and keep them, you know, in position 7, position 8, something that we saw Liiv SANDBOX do today against FINALEe-sports. And, I mean, they're just such a force to be reckoned with. It's going to be a fun postseason. Yeah,
I mean, it comes to the territory, especially of KWANGDONGFREECS, of course, just having the 4-man roster, right? I mean, one of the pro teams to only have 4 players instead of 5, where they swap out the speed and item ace or something like that, or a runner and an item ace. So curious to see how that continues to develop. I mean, maybe in the next, preseason or the official season, they'll eventually fill out a roster of 5 as well. Who knows? But for now, so it's going to be KWANGDONGFREECS and Liiv SANDBOX up in positions 1 and 2 on the leaderboard. They go to the upper bracket finals. Now, places 3 and 4, the seeding still up in the air, right? Rox and Aura, they are fixed as the other two teams who enter the postseason, but Aura plays next, and if they can get that win, depending on their score, they might be able to overtake Rox and get that red side, get that first priority choice in that postseason matchup.
Yeah, if they're able to tie Rox overall in score, they're probably going to be the third place finish because Rox is, I mean, they've just been relying on the ace matches, right? They have a negative round differential overall here in the KDL preseason. So Aura, I mean, there's a lot at stake here, both in match number 1, you know, with Liiv SANDBOX winning, and coming up soon with match number 2. Should be another fun day, man. It's so good to be back here at the KDL. I love doing this.
Yeah, I mean, the KDL has been fun, and the fact that, again, we're kind of having these short bites here in the preseason before we launch into full gear, no pun intended, you know, right at the end of the year here. So these are just really teasers, right, for us and the players as well. And then we have currently the preseason 1 and then preseason 2 in the middle of the year, and then the official first season of Kart Rider Drift League. So lots to look forward to for the rest of 2023. But right now we'll focus on today's matches. As you mentioned, Aura playing next now. They are going up against the monsters, KWANGDONGFREECS. We've just been talking about them and why they're so good. Curious to see. I mean, I'll just say it like it is. I think the only way Aura has a chance is to take it to an ace match, right? Probably not winning the speed mode. So we'll see what they've cooked up there.
It feels like kind of the same story here as match number 1 with FINALEe versus Liiv SANDBOX, where FINALEe, their best chance was to win an item mode. You know, you're not going to beat Liiv SANDBOX in speed, frankly. Just not, your team's not in position to do that yet. And then try and force that ace match. We'll see if Aura can do it, though, because another thing about the Freaks is not only are they so good at speed mode in, you know, team match, but also just 1v1. They're also so good. Any one of those players could be an ace.
Exactly. They can send anybody out, and we've seen that before in some of the behind the scenes as well. That's one of the teams where kind of all 4 are always in the discussion on who will enter the ace match depending on their condition that day and the track. Now, one thing we'll be able to talk about more once we're getting ready for that second match is also there's a lot of history behind the players on Aura and KWANGDONGFREECS. Many of the players on Aura actually having played on KWANGDONGFREECS prior, and with some of the players currently on KWANGDONGFREECS, like World. So there's just a lot of familiarity and a lot of kind of rivalry and some friendliness, friendly banter between these two teams. So Aura, while they might not be under a pro team banner today, the players are not, anyone to laugh at, right? I mean, they've clearly got the repertoire and the history to combat KWANGDONGFREECS at an individual level.
Yeah, and those Aura players on the old school KWANGDONGFREECS back in like the early 2020s, they were the item mode specialists. So maybe they're going to try and carry a little bit of that expertise here against the KWANGDONGFREECS today and hopefully force that ace match and try to come up with a miracle win. We'll see exactly what their game plan is going to be.
Yeah, we gotta finish the round robin with a couple more ace matches, right? We can't go out on a fizzle. We gotta go out with a bang.
I can't believe we went I think I went maybe 3 or 4 days of casting without getting a single ace.
Yeah, you did. You kind of started it off real slow there.
Yeah, but I've been spoiled now with these Jong ace matches, man. It's just been so much fun.
Well, Jong's also just been giving us so many ace matches, right, on the side of Rox. And I mean, I think that's one player that both globally and within Korea, everyone's like, okay, if you followed Kart Rider Rush Plus, you know about this guy, but if you haven't, I mean, he's kind of this new monstrosity of a player where you're like, what is your ceiling? Because maybe you're not there yet.
It's actually insane. I mean, it almost feels like he might be the best individual racer right now here in the team match format. Yeah, I don't think anyone can beat him in an ace match right now. He's just on fire.
I would say so. I think we can confidently say in the current time, right? Not in terms of overall potential or later on in the year, but in the current time, like, you cannot beat Jong. I mean, he's proven it. He's played against 5 different people in ace matches and won all of them. I mean,
5 aces, 5 teams, won every single time in the highest pressure situation.
Yeah. And the way he wins them, too, if you haven't, go back and check the highlights. It's crazy. But we're going to go to a break. When we come back, it's going to be match 2 for the night. Don't go anywhere.